Mark, thank you so much for your conversation and insights this evening. I learned heaps about how to use data intelligently and just the capacity of what good data can do. I guess the final question I've got for you tonight is, what would be your number one tip for people who are here tonight about how to use data smartly?
I suppose the number one tip would be make sure you put a value on the data. Make sure it sits on your asset register, not just something in an Excel spreadsheet or in a throwaway data tool set. By putting a value on it, then all of a sudden you'll dedicate time and resource and energy to it and treat it with potentially the respect it deserves. Once you've put a value on data and you start building strategy around it, you'll be able to make better, confident decisions because you're investing in your data as opposed to just having it in a place where you may not be able to access it because it's other things have greater priority to it.
Okay, cool. We spoke a lot tonight about loyalty and how we use various platforms to generate loyalty. How do people use their data to generate loyalty amongst their customers?
Well, loyalty, I suppose, monitor behaviour. So get as rich information as you can from their transaction, how often they visit, what they do, when they do it, and then tailor your communication or whatever strategy around that, and try to complement, not come over the top of it. It'll also be the easiest way for you to create the type of customer you are looking for by having a very strong understanding of the right loyal customer that you're looking for.
Fantastic. Mark, thanks again. Data somehow, in terms of converting it from an Excel spreadsheet, numbers, demographic data somehow became very interesting and useful. So thanks so much again for your time tonight.
And thanks for having us.
No problem at all.
All the best.
Thanks. Nathan, thanks so much for your conversation tonight. I learnt heaps around different ways to use social media platforms to engage and to generate loyalty. What would be your number one tip to people tonight about how to use social media platforms to generate loyalty amongst their customer base?
I think the number one tip is to find the motivations behind why people want to be loyal or why people want to like you or why people want to check in. So what's that motivation? Is it to be noticed, to be recognised, to have their 15 minutes of fame, or to, be involved in a social cause, or to win something? It can be simple as a voucher. So finding that underlying motivation.
Okay, fantastic. We didn't get to ask the final question that I wanted to ask. Is there any one thing that you would say don't do? Like, what would be the top mistake that you've seen that you just go, just whatever you do, don't do it?
I think the number one thing is don't cram. And we've been hearing about it ever since people have started talking about social medias. Don't force your message down people's throats. And you've got so much data, both quantitative and qualitative data out there to know what your fans or your customers like. You should be able to find something for them that, will tap into that motivation.
Awesome. Nathan, thanks once again for your time tonight. It was a really juicy conversation and again, learnt heaps about how to use social media platforms smartly.
Awesome. Thanks, Kat.
Thanks, Nathan. Rachel, that was a fantastic conversation about how to use social media platforms as well as data to generate loyalty in our customers. What would be your takeaway tip for using social media platforms to generate and maintain loyalty in your customer base?
I guess if we think about location-based marketing and Facebook Places and Foursquare, if you're using those platforms, it's not about the product and it's not about your location, it's about the customer experience and the actual process and the sequence of events that the customer goes through while they're experiencing your brand or your business. And it's the location and the product together combined, and other things like phone manner, customer service, atmospherics, ambience, all those things come together into one. And they're things you've got to consider. And when you've got that mix, that recipe right, that's when you'll get a great customer response on social media.
So it's not about the platform, it's not about Facebook or Foursquare, it's about the overall customer experience that encourages people to share.
Don't get me wrong, there are platforms that are better suited to certain business types, and there are platforms that are better suited to certain geographic locations. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you're getting your message out, as long as the message is right and as long as your message is appropriate for your target market and your fan base.
Awesome. Rachel, thank you so much for your time this evening and for your insights. You know, every time I think there's nothing more to learn, people like you come along and just showcase a whole new side of the technology that I didn't know about. So thank you so much for sharing your insights tonight.
It's a pleasure, Kat.